Oh, snap! It's another Snap review from the Family Gamers.
So, Anitra, there's all sorts of amazing fantasy worlds in literature, like Narnia or Eternia.
Well, this one is called Therion.
This is a Snap review for Dice Hunters of Therion. Dice Hunters of Therion is a press-your-luck die rolling and bidding game for 2 to 4 players. It was designed by Richard Garfield.
Yes, that Richard Garfield who created Magic the Gathering.
And it's published by Amigo.
So what about the art in this game?
Let's talk about it. So this game could really be themed basically anything.
We'll get into that in a minute.
But the art in this game by Dan May, who did Everdell, transports us to a world full of anthropomorphic animal heroes and villains. There are 4 player mats with full-color illustrations and 7 of these line-drawn wanted posters. The rest of the game is cardboard, coins, and special dice. They're fine.
They're fine.
So let's talk about the mechanics of this game. How do you play Dice Hunters of Therion? In this game, you play as bounty hunters in this magical land of Therion, and your goal as a bounty hunter is to have the most money.
So how do you earn money? There are 2 ways, by bidding on warrants and by rolling up coins on your dice. On your turn, you roll your dice. You set aside any that you'd like to lock. You may re-roll any dice that you want once or twice.
Up to 3 total rolls of your dice.
When you're all done rolling, you take actions depending on what the dice show. Any dice that show swords are devoted to chasing a villain. Put them next to the current warrant, but only if the number of swords you have are greater than the number of swords already assigned there. If you beat out another player for the number of swords, they must take back their dice. If any of your dice show a coin, you're then collecting coins that the villain dropped while they were running away.
But maybe you're a lover, not a fighter. Which is weird for a bounty hunter, but whatever. If none of your dice show swords after your last roll, collect twice as many coins as the number you actually rolled.
Ooh, money!
Money is good in this game. Lastly, some of your dice, the white and the yellow ones, might show more dice. Every white that shows a yellow or yellow that shows a red means that you add another die to your party, which you can start using on your next turn.
Unfortunately, the yellow and the red dice can also easily leave your party. Anytime you roll an X on these, you immediately lose these dice back to the reserve on your player mat, with no re-rolling.
Those mercenaries. So what happens with the warrants? Well, if your dice are still next to the stack of warrants when it comes back around to your turn, that means that nobody has outbid you and you have captured the villain. Grab that top warrant card and flip it over so it shows coins. You'll then start the hunting for the next bounty.
When the last warrant is taken, the game immediately ends. Everyone counts up their coins, including the ones on the warrants they hold, and the richest player wins.
There is a variation for 2 players to keep the game a little bit more interesting. If your dice are still next to the warrants on your next turn, then you take them back and you put your duel marker in their place. Roll your dice as usual and commit swords to the warrants again. If your opponent outbids you, you'll remove your duel marker and your dice. But if your duel marker is there on your next turn, then you win the warrant.
Basically, to win a warrant, you need to not be outbid twice in a row. This variation also uses fewer warrants to keep the game moving.
So, Anitra, what did we expect from Dice Hunters of Therion?
This looked like a pretty simple dice game, but when I saw Richard Garfield's name, I was immediately intrigued. I'm not exactly sure how the fantasy animal bounty hunter theme fits in, but it does seem to work.
I agree with you. We did kind of say it at the top, right? This could have been themed to just about anything. It's really basically a bidding mechanic, but if it's Richard Garfield, it's a pretty good chance it's going to be fantasy or maybe sci-fi. But what about this game surprised us?
I really liked the combination of the press your luck dice rolling and the bidding. There's a surprising amount of tension involved. Do I want to commit a lot of swords up front, and then maybe no one will try to outbid me? Or do I want to try for mostly coins right now?
Yeah, I felt this too. I really liked the fact that you could be meaningfully competitive in this game just through getting coins from your dice. If the warrant bids go around the table a couple of times, you can actually build up a pretty impressive purse without ever actually winning a bounty. This is even more true with more players at the table. In a 2-player game, you have to be the outbidder.
At least once in a while.
At least once in a while. But that might not be the case for a game where you're playing with 3 or 4 players.
So, Andrew, do we recommend Dice Hunters of Therion?
Well, this game is rated for ages 8+, and that feels just about right, although you could play with younger kids as long as they're not super competitive kids, because the mechanics aren't complicated. If your family likes dice chuckers and you're looking for something a little bit more strategic than like strike or roll for it, Dice Hunters of Therion might be just the ticket.
So, Andrew, what are we going to rate this game?
Well, I think we're going to give Dice Hunters of Therion 3.5 warrants out of 5.
And that's Dice Hunters of Therion.
In a snap.
Just drop them.
Just keep getting closer.